Hey, appreciate you guys for being here. Like I said, sorry about the couple minute delay. My name is Gary Meek with EXP, but I'm also partners with this wonderful guy in co-living, expert co-living. So Barry and I have known each other for many, many years. We've all done, or we both have done all different kinds of real estate over the years. And for last year, we've been focusing on co-living. Got to see Pace Morby in Cabo, and really kind of took off from that. And we've got 2 houses up and running, and we just went and looked at a 3rd house last week. And so hopefully Barry's going to kind of dial into what that's going to look like in the coming months. So it's all yours, my man.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Gary. All right, so am I in the right spot? All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Thank you guys for joining us online and here in the conference room. If you guys don't know, we're based out of Roseville, California, and we do Sacramento all over the place. So co-living property is something we got into about a year back, and we now have 19 doors up and running. We've got another probably 18 doors coming in the pipeline. And so we're really looking forward to sharing this with you. At the end of our event tonight, we've got a new opportunity coming up that we're going to be able to share with you. And I'd love to have your feedback on this new opportunity, see what you think about it. It's in an area that we haven't done before, so we're excited about it. So Gary kind of shared a little bit already about our past and how we've both been brokers for 20 years, a couple of decades. Man, we're getting old. And so I would say that it's not that we know everything, but we've been around long enough to know a lot. And then we also know who to talk to if we don't know it. And we know that we don't know everything. So between the two of us, we're pretty good at getting the answers we need. And so that's something that you get to take advantage of your experience. You get to take advantage of our experience. So as we look and talk to each other, like he said, we've been talking to Pace Morby and following him and what he's doing, but we also have our finger pretty good on the pulse because we're both active real estate brokers. I run a property management company. He runs a large team. And we start to see some trends that really cause us some concern. Inflation is just going crazy and taking off. It is just affecting every part of life. As you can see, these numbers might even be a little lower than they actually are nowadays with the prices of gas going up like they have. The second thing that causes us a big concern is taxes and regulations. So we do feel like there's almost an administrative attack, like we're almost at war with our own state and our own federal government because they just keep coming for money out of our pocket. So we have to look for ways that are tax advantage to earn money instead of just earning it W-2. You really have to find ways that are going to allow you to take advantage of some of the tax laws, which, by the way, for real estate, they're really great. There's no other industry that allows you to take advantage of the tax laws except maybe being a private banker. I think that's about it. The common person really has not a lot of tax benefits, but real estate gives that to you. All right, so we're concerned about national trends of aging population. Our residents that are over 65 years old will make up 22% of the population by 2040. That's a big deal. That's a lot of people that are aging, and I guess I'm one of them pretty soon. I'll be there by 2040, yep. So we're concerned about fixed incomes. Our fixed incomes are actually trending lower than cost of living is increasing. Right now, even if you have a job, you could be a factory worker, you could be a delivery driver, a factory worker, somebody's working at fast food. You're really not making a living income. So the average per capita income in Sacramento, that's per person in Sacramento County. Some make more, some make less, but that's $34.95, $34.99, and that's not a lot of income. If you're trying to rent a house and pay for everything you have, that's just not a lot of income. And for some of our retired folks in Sacramento County, you're looking at $19.20 for your total income. I don't even see how that works. Even with what we do, that would still be hard. So what are you looking at? I think that this is something that I brought back in from a previous teaching that I used to do because I think people struggle to understand, what do I need when I retire, right? And so now on the investor side, what are you doing? You're investing money and you want to make some income. Well, every person, what they need to retire is a little bit different. Now, George Foreman, he was a great guy. He says, the question is not at what age I want to retire, and he worked well into his 60s and 70s, but it's at what income do I want to retire at. So whatever your income is, if you want to make $96,000 a year in annual income, then you need to multiply by 25, and you need $2.4 million in the bank in order to make that work out for you to maintain that income after you stop working. So why do I jump into that? I went straight from not having enough money to this is the money that you might need to have. And now I'm talking to you as an investor, what are you investing in that's going to allow you to have that 2.4 put away? And everybody's at a different place. I know me and my wife, we're not where we want to be in relation to that 2.4. So what does it take to get there? Well, one of the things you can do is see how much money you have now, and then how many times does the money you have need to double before you get to the 2.4? So this is a good little exercise for you to do. Write down rule of 25, and then multiply your income that you want by 25, and then come back in here. Now this is the rule of 72. How long does it take your money to double? Well, it depends on what rate of return you're getting. If you're getting 7%, then it's going to double in about 10 years. If you're getting 10%, it'll double in about 7 years. And if you're getting about 14.4%, it'll double in 5 years. So the trick is, how can you get a higher rate of return without increasing too much risk, right? And still get your money to double in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I just wanted to put that in context for you. So when you start to think about real estate and you start to think about, well, what can I do? What vehicle can I use in order to get that kind of return? So for us, we started looking at real estate across the board. I manage about 240 properties, and I'm telling you, I don't think that I could go buy a property today as a traditional rental and get anywhere close to those kind of returns. I'd be under 7%. And I'm talking about even if you bought an apartment building, you'd be under 7%. I don't want to take 10 years in order to double my money. I need a higher, safer rate of return. So I turned to co-living right about the same time that Gary did, and this is something that we're looking at. We're going to go into those rate of returns a little bit later, so stick with me as I go through it. I just want to explain to everyone, what do I mean when I say co-living? Why? What is co-living? Well, co-living is a new trend that's popping up all across the country. I'm personally aware of about 30 to 40,000 of them. Now, people have been doing it for a long time, but there's platforms that are making it more efficient, making it safer, and making it more desirable for the people that are staying there. So we have shared common areas, shared amenities, sharing the expenses across the whole platform, and then creating some shared sense of community. So this is what one looks like. I think that people get an idea of what it is in their head, but it really helps to just go ahead and show you one. This is a property that we currently manage and own. Our investor group bought these properties, two of the properties I'm going to show you. And we bought those properties last year and turned them around and got them up and operating. So this is a property we bought in Town Circle. It's over in Arden. As you can see, it has a spacious kitchen, and it's got a corner lot that's really good for parking. And this is an example of a typical room. We have a bed, a dresser, a desk, and a chair. And that's pretty much what you see when you go into one of our properties in different formats, depends on the size of the room, but this is pretty much in every room. And so we have different prices that run on our different properties. So this one was a property that we ran, and these are the prices that they got. Every property has a little bit different price point. So here's where we're going to talk to you about what we do to take an existing traditional property and turn it into a co-living. And by the way, as we're going through this, if you have a question, I know that I go pretty fast. I've done a lot of these presentations because we really want to get the word out. If I'm going too fast for you, throw something in the chat box. If you have a question, I'd rather deal with it while we're in it. And we'll, of course, we'll have questions and answers afterwards. But throw it in the chat box, and we'll see if we can address those questions as we go. It helps me to slow down because I tend to run 90 miles an hour. So, all right, so here's a traditional house that we bought. This is the one on Arden on Town Circle. And this was, if you look at the top of it, the top is actually the front door. So if you come in the front door there, you had a bedroom to your left, you had a bedroom to the right, and a bedroom there in the middle. And then if you go to the back, there was one big master bedroom on the bottom left corner. Now, on the right-hand side, that drawing is what the upstairs looked like. 2 large bedrooms upstairs. Now, this house, I believe, is around 3,400 square feet, and it basically gave us a lot to work with. Up 3,470 square feet, 6 bedrooms existing already when we bought it. So this is what we did to the downstairs. So the 1 bedroom number 1 up there on the right-hand side in the upper corner, that one has a half bath in it. That gives us a little bit of a premium opportunity. And then there's a bedroom number 2, that was a small bedroom. Bedroom number 3, we left it large. And then you can see there's a hall bath there in the hallway. So the baths are shared, that hall bath is shared. And then if you go right down, we took that master bedroom and we cut it in half. We basically built 2 bedrooms there, and both of those rent out separately. In order to do that, we blocked off the access to the bathroom, and we now access that bathroom through the hallway. So now we have 2 shared bathrooms on that first floor. And then if you come down to the bottom, we took a big area that had a den space that was built out as a bonus room, and it already had 2 exit doors on it, so we went ahead and turned those into bedrooms as well. So that really gave us some good opportunity there, premium rooms on the bottom and the top, and made a big difference for us. Added 3 rooms with 2 private entrances. So now we went upstairs, and upstairs we did kind of the same thing. We took 2 very large rooms and split them into where they now are 4 large rooms, and we have a shared hall bath upstairs as well. So now it's an 11 bedroom, 3.5 bath, fully rented up. We go in and out. We might lose one, gain one, lose one, gain one. But for the most part, we've stayed rented since we filled it up. There's a lot of demand for housing like this. And you might say, well, who's going to rent that kind of property? It's probably the most common question I get. So I'm going to share with you a couple of stories. If you don't mind the patience with us, but here's a couple of stories of the people who live in the property.
I'm originally from the islands, born in Guam, but I've been out here for about 10 years, I want to say now.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess with the current living situation, what I like about it is you don't have to worry about who's going to be doing their part and participating in paying what they're supposed to be paying. It's like everybody got their own share. So that's stress-free right there. You don't have to be the responsible one in the house. And having the option, there's a lot of, the rooms here are pretty big too, compared to where I was. So I find this very, very awesome for the time being. It's actually perfect. So I do find it fitting to my needs at the moment.
All right, well, we had a little bit of a hot mic ceremony there. At least we didn't say anything bad. But I have 8 of these stories. I'm going to shorten them down for you to save you a little bit of time. If you want to find these stories, you can go to Expert Co-Living on YouTube, and you can find each one of them there.
I was in a sober living environment.
So that gentleman was in a sober living environment. He came down. He said that he was looking. One of the funny things about that clip is he said he found quietude. Whatever quietude is, he found it, and he's there. He's actually a good guy. He's gone in and out of different sober livings, and he'll come to us, and he works as a good tenant. He's not causing any trouble whatsoever. Some people are afraid of people that have a history, but everybody needs a place to stay, right? And so you just, as long as things are working out, you let them stay.
I'm Isai, I'm from Mexico, and before being here I was in a foster care program, and now I'm living by myself. I'm a full-time student, and I like being here.
So Zaid was a foster student. A foster child, I guess you say, yeah. Although I think he was almost full grown, but he aged out. That's what he was. He's an aged out foster child. So he aged out of the program and really had nowhere to go. And so by coming to us, one of the groups that he worked with turned him on to us, and we were able to give him housing. And it was kind of a good first step for him to be out of the foster program, but he's on his own, but he's not necessarily completely on his own. A lot of the things that people are looking for, we provide there at the house. So we'll provide a lot of the soaps, we'll provide towels, paper towels, linens, a lot of those things, all the cookware that they need. So it's almost like a dorm living, but you've got your own private room. And so I think it's a good first step for somebody like him that's aging out of the program. So here we're going to show you another property that we have. Now this is a little bit different vibe. It's over in Natomas, and really a nice property. I mean, as you can see, that kitchen, that's very nice, competes with anything you might see on the market today. So this is a property on Greg Thatch, And when we got it, it was a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. So this is that existing floor plan. We took this downstairs. As you can see, this is a 2,500 square foot house. Not a huge house. It feels nice. It has a good flow to it, but it had a very large living room. And you already know me well enough to know what I'm gonna do with a large living room. This is the upstairs. We can see that there's a loft and a big master bedroom, and I think you got a clue as to what's coming upstairs as well. That master bedroom's 16 by 19. Then we got 3 large bedrooms and a loft that's 10 by 12 and 2 full bathrooms upstairs as well. In this case, the front door is at the bottom of the screen, and so we took that living room section and we added 2 bedrooms in. And then on the left side, you can see that we took a half bath and turned it into a full bath. And that's pretty much all we did downstairs. And we now, upstairs, we split that master bedroom and we now access that. We created a hallway to access the master bath to all the rooms. So now we have an 8-bedroom, 3-bath, and that one's really doing well. And we're looking forward to maybe putting in another bedroom as we go down the road. We've got some room in the garage that we'd like to turn into a bedroom as well. Looking for another investor in this property if somebody's interested. This one's doing well, but we want it to do a little bit better. All right, so what do you need to operate a co-living property? Well, there's a lot of ways you can do it. Like I said, people have been doing this for decades, right? From small mom and pops that do it in college towns, or just somebody that gets some roommates and they kind of house hack and they do it that way. But we do it on a different level. As you can see, we have a lot of bedrooms, we have a lot of turnover, we have people that are coming and going, and we do it in a way that I think makes a lot of sense. So we have maintenance ongoing at the property that we take care of. We provide cleaning every other week. Like I talked about before, we have a lot of the supplies that might get arguments started. We already have those supplies taken care of. And then turnovers, we're turning those properties over in a formatted way that we have a system for doing it. All the rooms have padlocks, have keypad door locks on them. And so people were able to get their keys, their key codes before they even come into the property. Their room code actually opens up the front door as well. We can change all of those codes online, so it's a pretty good situation for us to be able to manage it effectively. Landscaping gets done on a regular basis. And then we provide some legal liability protection. So we use LLCs to really cover our investors well. So we have an LLC for the tenants, we have an LLC that's a master lease, and then we have an LLC that actually does the investing and owns the homes. How you wound up here, and what does it mean for you to have a place like this where you can be?
This is my 9th year in California. This is the closest I've ever had to have my own room, my own space this entire time. It came at a perfect time. I like to let God just guide me, and it may not look like it may be advantageous for me, but I have to trust him, and he brought me here.
Is there anything you would change about the place?
It's perfect, honestly.
It's perfect?
Yes,
awesome, awesome. Well, as you can see, we've got 2 big refrigerators in there. One thing we did find is that 1 fridge is not enough if you're gonna have 8 people in a house. They really like having their food space. So getting that extra fridge in there. We had to upgrade the electrical in some cases where we've gone in, and in the first property we put in a lot of new electric circuits and had contractors do that to make sure that we could handle that extra load. And going that extra mile really makes a big difference once you're up and running. Otherwise, you're going to have problems that are going to come up all the time. So let's hear another one of these stories.
First off, I have to say, I love the home. I love the environment. Everyone here is so great. As far as the vibe goes, it's great. Never been in an environment like this before, and I'm excited. I'm having a great time. The room's great, view's great, temperature's great, no complaints. I was in a home with my mother, and she passed away, so everything kind of came down on me, and I found myself in a tailspin and found myself without a home.
I always like to take extra time to hear people that say I'm great or say that what we're doing is great, so we can never cut this guy for sure. So actually all the stories are good in their own unique way. We're gonna hear another one.
Actually, my son found this.
Okay.
And he said, Pops, I found, wait a minute, look at these, they got rooms. He said that you can do half the rent that you pay in the motel, because the motel is $2,000 a month. That was expensive, you know, and this is a blessing to me, because, you know, it's giving me opportunity to save. The surprise was to find a place like this. Most rooming houses that I know of coming out of Chicago or in the slums, and they're, they're not the type of house that you really want to live in. To find something of this quality, that's what really makes me happy with, because I'm in a good spot.
Awesome, awesome. Now, if you noticed, he said that he was staying in a hotel for $2,000 a month. Most of our rooms run anywhere from $900 to about $1,100 or $1,200. I think we've gone up to $13 on one of them that has that half bath. But most of our rooms are very affordable, and they include everything, all your utilities, all of your expenses that you would normally be paying out as a tenant. If you go to rent a property right now, you're probably going to be paying $1,600 plus $400 for everything that comes on top of it. So he was in a motel for $2,000. Apartments are going to run about $2,000, and we're getting people in for 40 to 50% of that cost. And so that's a big deal, and we're really happy to be able to do that and to also be able to do it and make a profit. So what we like to say is co-living is where purpose meets profits. If we can get purpose-driven housing for people that's affordable, but still do it in a way that makes a profit for the investors, that's a win-win situation, and that's really what Gary and I were looking for, especially Gary. I was on the profit side, he was on the purpose side. So he's a nicer guy. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the numbers. All right, so it's not that the stories are bad. You can go and watch them on YouTube. I think it's a lot to have people sit through. However, there's 8 of them on YouTube. You can go check those out. So I want to jump into some measurements of investments. We talked a little bit earlier about how you need to hit that higher return. And we want to hit it in a way that's safe. And so if you haven't done much investing, this is why people invest in real estate. This is true not only of co-living, but it's also true of my apartment building owners, my single family owners. This is why you do it. If you're looking for cash flow is one of the 5 ways that you get a return on your investment. And if you invested $250,000, and let's say you joined other people to do it, you put in 100, they put in 150. If you're going to get a 10% cash on cash return, that just means that you receive $10,000, they receive $15,000. The combined total is $25,000. So that's your cash on cash return. Some people call that cash flow. Some people call it cash on cash. There are some technical other names for it, like internal rate of return, but that doesn't really apply here. Let's just stay with cash on cash, our cash flow. That's that 10% return. Somebody invested $250 and they got $25,000 back in the first year. So another form of return on investment is going to come from your loan payment and your principal and interest, how those interact with each other. So every time a loan payment is paid, then some of the principal is paid down. And so if you put in $250,000 in order to get a property, then that property has a payment of $3,500. If you have a payment of $3,500, most likely your principal is going to be about $10,500. And so your $12,600 annually is going to be what you're paying down. And so it's really not you paying it down, it's really your tenants paying it down. The people that are paying the rent every month, they're paying that down. And they're going to give you $12,600 that first year. If that happens, then you divide that into the $250,000 that the investment cost you, and you're getting a 5% return just on the debt pay down. Some people will call that debt pay down, they'll call it equity growth, debt pay down, loan payoff. You'll hear it principal reduction. You'll hear it called all of those things. Another form of return on investment is to go back and look at the other side of that payment. You have principal and interest. Well, on the interest side of that payment, you're allowed to take a tax deduction. Now, different people have different tax brackets, so you need to consult a tax attorney for this or a CPA. They can give you these answers better than I can. However, I'm just going to take a general rule of thumb, and we're going to say that your interest payment was $2,450. For the whole year, that was a month, and for the whole year, it added up to $29,400. Now, if you're in a tax bracket around $197,000, then you're probably about a 32% tax bracket. And so the value of that deduction to you is going to be $9,408. If you divide that into the $250,000 that it cost you to get that deduction, then you're looking at that 3.76% return on investment. Okay? All right, so here on depreciation, So on depreciation, it works similar. On a sales price of a property, the IRS says that in 27 and a half years, your residential property is going to depreciate to zero. Now, we know that's probably not the truth. And if you don't understand that, then go downtown to Sacramento and you can see all the Victorians and the Craftsmans that are selling for $800,000, $900,000 down there. They definitely don't appreciate to zero every time. So, but they say that the improvement part, not the land part, but the improvement part, you divide depreciation schedule into 27.5 years, and that's going to give you the annual depreciation every year. Doesn't matter if you're actually appreciating, doesn't matter if you're actually collecting rent. You get to take a $17,454 annual depreciation in your taxes when you do it, as provided that you're a person that can take those. Some people with too much income can't take them. Some people that aren't real estate professionals might not be able to take them. So it just depends on your unique situation. But for most people and most companies, you'll see them take advantage of these deductions. This works the same way. You multiply what the value of that deduction is by your tax bracket, and you'll get that $5,585. Divide that into the $250,000 that you get, that it costs you to get that deduction, and you're going to get the 2.23%. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but I just want you to understand how these things are calculated. Many real estate professionals still don't know how to calculate depreciation. I don't even know how to say it, but many of them don't even know how to count it. And so this is the way it's done. It's not that complicated, but you do have to know a couple of numbers. And we're going to come back to depreciation in a little bit. I've got some great news when we come back. All right, and this is the one that everybody's always familiar with. So we look at that $250,000. It helped us buy a property that appraised at $600,000. Now, annual appreciation in California over the last 30 years has been about 5.5%. Over the last 10 years, it's been about 6.5%. And then there was this little boost over the last 5 years where it was around 7.5%. Now, I would back that up. That's probably 3 years ago that last 5 years was. All right, so conservative appreciation, we're pushing it out at 4%, which is a very conservative number, and that's $24,000 a year. If that $24,000 in appreciation, it costs you $250,000 to invest in order to get the $24,000. Now you're at 9.6%. So we've already talked about depreciation, but I'm going to come back to these numbers in just a little bit. Remember those five. So now what we've done is we've kind of told you what all five of them are and how you calculate them. Now we're going to dive into some of the numbers that go with what we do. And this is our special sauce, I guess you could say, is we are into creative finance. Now, if you're familiar with Pace Morby, you'll know that's his bag as well. So we find a model that works, and then we follow that model. We don't see a need to recreate the model every time we go out. So this is not a big mystery. You can do this without us, but we've been able to do it and execute it at a fairly high level, and we would love to have you join us on our next project. We're going to be talking about that at the end of the slides here, and we're getting very close to it. So stick with us a little bit longer. All right, so this is a real property. We bought it for $705,000. What's the creative finance part? Well, we did an assumed loan, and that loan had a 4.6% interest rate. That's like going back in a time machine. Now, this one, we just went a little bit back in a time machine. I'm going to show you one later that we're going way back. I don't even remember how to get that far back on that one. All right, so our principal and interest is $33.22, and that's every month, and our taxes around $1,010. 9 rooms on that property would rent out around $89.65, and we're boosting those rents up a little bit. Right now, the rents that when we first settled into them, they're a little bit on the low side, but we're going to be boosting those rents up with our new members that are joining. All right, looked at Town Circle. These are the numbers on Town Circle, $710,000, a little bit more of the property, but check these terms out. We got a subject to property with a $300,000 loan at 2.25% interest rate. If you want to learn the difference between subject to and assumed loan, feel free to contact Gary. Gary can be reached at
916-995-9385.
916-995-9385. It's one of those numbers that's in my phone. I call it so much I don't know it. And my number, obviously, if you want to reach me, is 916-225-7777. Although I would reach Gary. He's actually much better at it than I am. All right, and then on the second mortgage side, on the seller carry, We had the seller carry a note for $310,000. That one's at a little higher percent interest rate, but it was a big advantage to the seller to carry that note. If you're a seller out there and you're trying to sell a property for more than you think, or more than what the market thinks it might be worth, this might be something that you could use. Give us a call. We might buy it on a seller carry. One of the great things about this property is that the seller really didn't have to take all of that money in and then pay taxes out that year. So he's getting the money on a gradual, and so he doesn't have to pay so many taxes right up front and lose all of that income. So he gets that income over a number of years, which is what he liked. He moved out of the area, and he wants that steady income coming in. So frankly, he's getting a pretty good deal on that income, I think, and he doesn't have to take any calls for tenants, toilets, trash, all of that. So principal and interest on there, taxes and insurance on there, and our PITI is there. 11 rooms, that one's renting out really nice at $11,416. I told you that I was going to get to a new property, and this is our new property right here. And this is a great opportunity. It's not completely baked in yet, but it is something that we're looking at doing, and we'd love to have you join us. So existing co-living with 7 rooms filled, purchase price $700,000. The first mortgage would be subject to a $360,000 loan at 1.75% interest rate. I don't even know how they got that. How did they get that? They had to buy it down, right?
I think so.
You had to be in a certain window of like a 2-week period where you could be like 2.25 and then buy it down. All right, so the second mortgage we're asking the seller to carry. We're going to offer a percentage for her to carry that. And then taxes and insurance are run there. Our operating expense, we haven't really gone into that very much, but the operating expense on these properties is higher. It's more than just paying the mortgage. You also have to pay the utilities. You also have to pay a lot more. You have a property management bill that's about twice as high as it normally would be. You have a vacancy factor that's going to come into play. And you have a lot of things that you buy for this property that you wouldn't buy for a normal rental. So your expenses are going to run higher. However, your income's running quite a bit higher. And so that's our projected income there. And so we should be able to make a good income from that. We're going to look at the same property that we just talked about, but now we're coming at it from all 5 forms of return on investment. And so we talked earlier about those returns on investment. So now we're going to apply those returns and see what are we getting on this property. So with about $241,000 down invested into the property, that's going to cover the cost of our construction that's needed. We're going to add some bedrooms. It's going to cover the cost of the furniture that's needed. In this case, we have some furniture. We're going to have some more that we add and get the closing costs done. On all of those costs rolled in is going to add up to $241,000. Now, I want to caution here. When I give these kind of numbers, I am a salesman. And so they're projections. We haven't closed on it. We don't have real numbers yet. But I've been doing this a pretty good while. I've got a couple of properties. I think right now, Gary, I don't know if you know this, but we are the co-living kings of Sacramento. So we have more co-livings under our belt than anybody else, especially when you add on those that I third-party manage. So we think that these numbers are pretty good. So we've got cash flow probably around 13%, 3.8% on that principal reduction. That's also known as debt paydown, 2.84% on the interest deduction, depreciation 2.7%. I'm going to come back to that one. And then appreciation only at 4% is giving us 11% appreciation. Most people would be happy just to get the appreciation in this market. So we're able to provide a total return on investment of around 34%. That's amazing in California for real estate. You're not getting that anywhere else. It's an amazing number. We're getting that net operating income every month paid out to our investors of around $26.79. Our investors get that money on a prorated basis. If you put in all the $241, then you get it all. If you put in $120, then you get half of it. If you, you guys can do the rest of the math. I'm not going to do it for you. I'll get it wrong even doing it in my head. I pretty much need a spreadsheet to do everything. And the older I get, the more that's true. All right. So I talked to you about depreciation a little bit. This is a beautiful thing. We've got the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of June 2025. This is what happens when you, whatever your political views are, if you put a guy who grew up on real estate into, and his dad grew up on real estate, and everything he does is about real estate, whether you agree with him or not, yeah, he's going to come up with some real estate laws that work pretty good. This is probably the best change in our tax code and our laws that we'll ever see in our lifetime. It's so good that I don't even know the real numbers yet. We haven't done it yet. We're going to do it this year on both of our other properties. In a nutshell, do you remember how I talked to you about the 27.5, the depreciation schedule? Well, some of the things inside the house have a different depreciation schedule. So like in this room right now, there's curtains and there's carpet and there's chairs and there's light fixtures. All of those depreciate on a different schedule than the whole property at the 27.5. Now, those that depreciate on 15 years or less, those in this bill, you can take that depreciation in the first year. And you might think, well, why would you want to take it all in the first year? Because it will significantly wipe out other taxes. Taxes that are on properties, taxes that you owe, even on things outside of the investment property, in many cases, it will wipe out taxes. So we actually are estimating that all of our investors that have invested in the first 2 properties that we had will not pay taxes on the money that they're earning in income at all on those properties this year. That's an estimate. I'm not a tax guy, but I got a spreadsheet and I can chat GPT my way into a tax professional. So I'm not a tax professional, just letting you know. Okay? Well, how could you get involved with this? So if you're an investor out there and you want to run and gun, you can definitely do it. If you're out there and you've got a stack of cash, I've got a friend of mine, he's looking for a property right now. He's got money in his pocket, ready to go. $500,000, ready to buy a deal. If you've got a fixer out there and you'd like to sell it, give us a call. We're ready to buy it. But guess what? If you start out like this and you start adding on all the work involved in running a co-living property, a lot of times you wind up looking like this. This guy probably is not the same kind of guy that started out on that other bike, right? So this guy has all his problems added up. He's got tenants calling him all night long. He's got things breaking at the property. He's got bills that have to be paid. But what he doesn't have is he doesn't have a team. And you need a team around. I told you earlier that I manage 240 properties. Well, guess what? I don't do that by myself. I have a team of 7 people to help me do that. And I think we just added another person on a part-time basis because even the 7 people weren't getting it all. All right? So if you want to do it, share the ride. Go with other people. I assure you, it's a lot more fun. So this is up in Klamath River. If you're familiar with that area, it's beautiful. You should go ride this ride. It is a blast. All right? So if you do it with a group of people, it's going to lessen your liability. It's going to diversify your portfolio some. And guess what? Gary knows things that I don't know. Our other investors that sit at this table, they know things that even me and Gary don't know. Everybody has a background. It's really good to get into that mastermind investor group. And that's what we're offering. Tonight we're talking about investing into this property, but we're really talking about becoming an investment club member. And when you join our investment club, we're the sponsors of the club. We've got a lot of experience. We're going to underwrite those investments. We're going to give you, we're going to guide that property conversion, provide property management, ongoing operations, and advice to the club. But guess what? The club members are the ones that make the decisions. They vote to buy each investment. We're not going to actually buy this property. We're going to bring this property in a contract form to the investors in the club and let them vote on it. So they'll be able to see all the numbers and have some decisions on where their money goes. They vote to buy and sell the property. They vote to refinance the property. And they provide accountability to the operators like us that are actually out there operating the property. So this helps them stay as active investors. We use a platform called Fractional App. And Fractional App has been around for 9 years. They've done, I don't know, was it 400 million? I believe $400 million through their platform. Very safe environment. Pace Morby uses it. A lot of other big fundraisers do it. They allow the back end to kind of flow seamlessly. Having done a couple of SEC compliant fundraisers, we're ready to give that part up and let this happen on Fractional App. So they maintain the club LLC. They have a platform to vote on. They collect investment funds, distribute those funds out, and provide tax documentations at the end of the year. So we'd love for you to come and be a part of that with us. We think that club members should be people that are, they have some time period there. We're not wanting people to come in and out. I would say a year is short, but the operating agreement does allow for you to come in and out. We want you to be financially stable. We're asking for at least a $10,000 minimum investment. In reality, most of our investors are putting in anywhere between $25,000 and $55,000. In this case, that'd be 4 or 5 investors. If you wanted to put down 100, that would be fine. And then material participation, voting in person or by video. When we are on that platform, you could be anywhere in the country and still zoom in and be able to vote on the platform for what happens with your money and your property. So one of my sayings is that education without action is mere entertainment. So often you hear things, you talk about things, and you say, well, that's a good idea. I wish I could get started in this. I don't know how to make it any easier for you. If your point of entry is only 10 grand, right, and you get to go into a group environment with a trending investment trend like co-living, and you have the potential to make 10 to 15% cash on cash returns, I don't know any other way to do it. I don't know anywhere that you can get in with those kind of numbers. Think about what you'll learn when you invest with others. You'll learn the entire process, and your seat at the table is a mere $10,000. However, we are wanting larger investors. I'd rather not have 25 investors. I'd like to fit around this table, only 12 of us. Thank you. All right. So if you want to learn more about it, hey, we're casual. We like to have fun, but we do like to invest. We like to give back. We like to have housing for people. It really means a lot. When I did those interviews, I was really blown away at how much value we had provided to some of them. When I have people that are transitioning out, they tell us how much they appreciated being there. We've really only had a couple people that didn't comply with what we wanted and weren't really a good fit. But other than those two, everybody has been a good fit. Everybody has been very appreciative for what the value that we're providing. Even when some of them weren't able to stay, they left and they came back. We've had that happen several times already. So it means a lot to us that we're able to provide that. And we do it in a way that provides a profit for you, the investor. And we'd love to answer any questions you might have or to meet with you and talk to you more about this in person or on a private Zoom. Give us a call. This is my number. And that's all I got for you today. Do you have any questions?
What is the investment criteria that the club follows?
So,
Preference, expense ratio, neighborhood class.
Repeat that for me.
What is the investment criteria that the club follows? Market preference, expense ratio, neighborhood class.
So what is the club criteria that the investment club follows? What is the expense ratios, the market preference? We don't necessarily want to be in the nicest neighborhood. We're probably not going to be in Granite Bay. I know a friend that runs some co-living properties in Granite Bay. He does well with it. But that's not our target market. We're really looking for working class neighborhoods. We want an area that has jobs. So one of our properties is not by coincidence almost right beside the airport. If you're familiar with our airport in Sacramento, there's a huge, and probably most airports, there's a large number of warehouses and factories, shipping facilities and things like that there, where you're going to have people that make between $20 and $30 an hour. Those are really a great demographic for us. Now, we also would like to be over on top of a hospital. That would be good as well. Although I get that a lot. People say, well, are you going to have traveling nurses? We're not really targeting that group, but we may have some. There have been some that have stayed in our co-living properties before because they're raising money. They have to be pretty motivated, though. On the other property, on Arden, that property is also pretty close to a lot of shopping. It's got some major transit nearby. And so that gives us a good opportunity to, for those people that are living there, to get out on major transit. Another question that comes up a lot is around parking. A lot of our residents don't have cars. So they either travel by Uber, they have stuff delivered, or they go out to the transit. And so both of our properties are in transit areas. The one that we're looking at, that one's actually close to light rail. And so that one's within blocks of light rail, and it's going to make a huge difference for filling that property up. Man, anytime you can get close to transit, that's a big deal. Expense ratios, we really want cash flow to be around, maybe 1,500 to 2,500. And so your expense ratios have to kind of fall in within that line. I'm not really sure how to break that out for you as a ratio without getting a calculator out, but you get the idea. You want to have some cash flow. You need that cushion cash flow. Any other questions? All right. We're not in a hurry. If you have a question, feel free to ask it. Gary, was there anything I didn't cover?
No, everything was good. You covered just, the basis we've been doing for the last year. So
Yeah. It's getting to where it's kind of running automatically, and it kind of happens. We've got a good team in place, I think, and I think having the property management under our control has really helped us with that as well. We've got a couple other properties that are lined up, and outside of even the ones that we own that we're taking on as management. And so if it's something you're interested in, we'd love to hear from you, do some dialogue, see if there's a way that we can partner with you and invest together. Again, my name is Barry Mathis. I guess I'm going by the king of co-living. So there's a lot of people that are brokers. I can be the king of co-living. That'd be great. All right. Have a great day, guys.